Love God with all your heart, soul, and strength. Join me as I take on the challenge of loving God with all my heart, soul, and strength for an entire week. Let us see how it changes my life. Loving God with all our heart, soul, and strength is a concept that is at the very core of Christian faith. It is a call to surrender, to give ourselves fully to Him, and to make Him the center of our lives. And yet, it is easier said than done. We live in a world where distractions are everywhere, where stress and anxiety are constant companions, and where it is easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life. It is hard to silence our minds and quiet our hearts long enough to truly hear God's voice. And even when we do, it is easy to let our own desires and ambitions take center stage, pushing God's to periphery of our lives. Add to the fact that our culture often celebrates self-reliance and individualism, making it is difficult to surrender our autonomy and control a higher power. We were told to be our own bosses, take charge of our lives, and to make our own decisions. And yet, loving God with all our heart, soul, and strength requires us to do the opposite. Let it go to surrender and to trust in Him. And then there is the fact that many of us have been wounded by the church or by well-meaning Christians, leaving us with emotional scars that makes it hard to trust God or to feel like we were worthy of His love. We may struggle with the feeling of shame, guilt, or inadequacy, making it difficult to approach God with an open and surrendered heart. In the midst of all these challenges, it is easy to feel like loving God with all our heart, soul, and strength is an impossible task. But the Bible tells us otherwise. In Deuteronomy 6 verse 5, we were commanded to love God with all our heart, soul, and strength. And in Mark 12:30, Jesus repeats this commandment, emphasizing its importance. Throughout the Bible, we see examples of people who lived lives fully surrendered to God. People like David, who danced with reckless abandon before the Lord, and people like Mary, who poured out her expensive perfume at Jesus' feet. Their story reminds us that loving God with all our heart, soul, strength is possible, and that it's worth the cost. In 1 Corinthians 13, Paul writes that faith, hope, and love are the greatest virtues, and that love is the greatest of these. This is not just romantic love or affection. It is a deep, selfless, and sacrificial love that puts God and others before ourselves. It is a kind of love that Jesus demonstrated on the cross, and it is a kind of love that we were called to emulate. One of the most powerful examples of loving God with all one's heart, soul, and strength is the story of Mother Teresa, who dedicated her life to serving the poorest of the poor in Calcutta. Despite the hardships and challenges she faced, she continued to pour out her life in service to God and to others, inspiring countless people around the world to do the same. Loving God with all our heart, soul, and strength is not just a theoretical concept. It is practical, a daily choice that we can make. It is a choice to prioritize our relationship with Him, to seek Him in the midst of chaos, and to trust in His goodness and love. For me, loving God with all my heart, soul, and strength has been a game changer, It's helping me to find peace in the midst of storms, to trust in His sovereignty, and to experience His presence in a deeper way. And I know that it can do the same for you. So let's summarize. Loving God with all our heart, soul, and strength is a call to surrender, to trust, and to prioritize our relationship with Him. It is not always easy, but it is worth the cost. Thanks for watching. I would love to hear from you. How has loving God with all your heart, soul, and strength impacted your life? Share your story in the comments below, and don't forget to check out other videos on faith and spirituality.